The country is gradually reopening in a way that was pretty vivid for me. I was talking to a friend this morning. He said, I'm not ready to get on a plane. I said, what are you waiting for? What are you going to wait for? I want to wait for a time when, and he couldn't, he was surprised by my question. Because if we're waiting, I really think it's worth asking yourself, what are you waiting for? Coronavirus to be eradicated? Because they lied to us. They told us we had to flatten the curve. That went from 15 days to whatever day we're on by now. What are we, 5 months, 6 months in? They don't want the virus to be eradicated. Heck, they don't even want a vaccine, because a vaccine could help Trump. Kamala Harris, who's not taking many questions, but when she does, when she says something, it's a disaster. How would you like to be living in your home, as you may well be doing right now, or living your life so differently than you had been in 2019, and the woman who would be vice president and a heartbeat away from the presidency doesn't care about the possibility of a vaccine being introduced by November 3rd? Oh, she said it. Here's the video clip courtesy of, brace yourself, CNN.
So, as you know, President Trump has promised a coronavirus vaccine by the end of the year or maybe sooner. Would you trust that vaccine?
I think that we have learned since this pandemic started, but really before that, that there's very little that we can trust that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth. From the beginning of this pandemic, he has called it a hoax. He has muzzled the public health experts. He has minimized the seriousness of it. He has created false expectations for the American people and American families, even though if he had listened to the scientists and the experts, he would have understood the gravity of it and the power that he as president of the United States has to actually save lives. And none of those were his priorities. His priority was to do whatever he thought was politically expedient. And no, I would not trust his word. I would trust the word of public health experts and scientists, but not Donald Trump.
How do you like them apples, huh? So they don't want to, Hillary says don't accept the outcome of the election, don't concede even if he wins. Now Kamala Harris says don't trust any vaccine that comes out prior to November the 3rd. They're in trouble, and they know it. They know what's happening in the streets of Portland and Rochester and Seattle and New York and Chicago. They know what's happening in Democrat-run cities, and they can't do anything about it. They can't get it under control. Biden, incidentally, hurriedly said something behind his mask. Oh, no, I'll take a vaccine tomorrow. I'll take a vaccine. It's okay. I'm okay with a vaccine. He's trying to do damage control because you got his VP running mate saying, don't trust any vaccine. And you know how sick these people are? How sick the hatred of Trump is? They're so sick, I don't doubt that they feel that way. They don't want anything solved by November the 3rd. If anything gets solved, they're afraid they're going to lose. They're afraid they're going to lose. And they are, well, in the words of Politico, terrified. Welcome in. We got a lot to break down. I'm ready to burst here in the ReliefFactor.com studios after a week off, and getting ready now for it's all on the line. Now we've got the president with a dire warning. Now we've got the president setting the tone for the next 55 days. Here's the president's message at his Labor Day news conference, which was decidedly different from Biden's, who was sitting out in a field somewhere in Pennsylvania with like 3 other people 100 feet apart from each other with masks on. And why do I think Biden, if he gets elected, won't conduct business that way anymore after November 3rd? Why do I think that's all about the optics? Heck, now you can't see Dr. Deborah Birx on TV anymore without her mask on giving an interview. Now she's doing interviews with her mask on, sitting in the middle of a studio somewhere. It's all about the optics. It's all about fear, but there is something we should be afraid of. And the president summed it up pretty perfectly yesterday.
We're currently witnessing the fastest labor market recovery from an economic crisis in history, world history. By contrast, Biden presided over the worst, the weakest, and the slowest economic recovery since the Great Depression. Biden and his very liberal running mate, the most liberal person in Congress, by the way, is not a competent person, in my opinion, would destroy this country and would destroy this economy.
Biden and Harris would destroy this country, destroy this economy, and we're going to see if the American people believe that or not. Welcome in. Our number's 800-655-MIKE.